Hey, hey, you know who it is. You know that you went to the right spot today. And you know how I know that? Because your beautiful face is looking at me right now. Hey, calm down. Calm down. It's cool. It's cool. Because we're going to be running it back with another episode. Yeah, we got hype. You're going to be learning about chess knowledge, chess moves, chess understanding. And guess what? We got a World Chess Championship going on right now of 2021. Of 2021. But let me say that one more time. Of 2021, bro. So, let's just get started. Let's just get started. I don't want to waste y'all time anymore. So obviously, before I go into the games, I want you to know the time control, to get the feel for the environment, what's going on. They're in Dubai. They're behind like glass, and they have silence in that room. And there's only photographers outside of the glass looking in, and they can't hear nothing. They can't see anything. It's just Jan Nepo and Magnus Carlsen facing off against each other, as Magnus Carlsen is the reigning champion since 2013 and Jan Nepo is the contender. But he beat everybody in the candidates tournament. I mean, last year. I would say last year, but then that tournament ran into this year because of a certain you-know-what. And Jan Nepo, he beat every single person in that tournament. Like, he went in. And he did a good job with his energetic play. And that's why I was expecting like him to be like a really brute contender against Magnus Carlsen. But we're going to see the games and see if he is going to be that contender like I thought he was going to be. Okay, but let's get into the time control. Let's see what's going on right now. First of all, the match... okay. So the prize fund is 2 million euros. The runner will take 60% and the runner-up will take 40%. There is going to be 14 classical games. The time control will be 120 minutes for the first 40 moves, then 60 minutes for the next 20 moves, then another 15 minutes for the rest of the game. Like it goes that long. But anyway, they will be drawing colors that will determine who will go first, who will be the white pieces or the black pieces. If there is a tiebreak after the 14 games, there will be 4 rapid games. Now, the 4 rapid games would be 25 minutes with a 10-second increment. Then, if it's still a tiebreak, then they will have to play 2 blitz games. And the blitz games would be 5 minutes with a 3-second increment. Then, if it's still a tiebreak, another 2 blitz games. Then, if it's still a tiebreak after the 4 blitz games, then they will have to play 1 sudden death round in which both players will draw lots and see who will be the white pieces and the black pieces. Then a time control will be the white pieces would have 5 minutes and the person with the black pieces would have 4 minutes. And after 60 moves, they will both get a 3-second increment. And in case of a draw, the person with the black pieces will win. I don't know if we're ever going to get a sudden death, but if we do, that's pretty awesome. But that's pretty much the time control and the experience behind it. And everything is sponsoring this. What did I see? Gold Money, Aim Chess, Chessable. Everything is sponsoring this tournament. So let's figure out if the games actually lived up to the tournament. Okay, because that's the main point. That's what we need. So let's set this up. Okay, here we go. We got the first game between Magnus Carlsen and Jan Nepo. Jan Nepo first got the white pieces. So what I was expecting was like Jan Nepo to come at Magnus Carlsen with all his might and just rip him to shreds with the white pieces, since usually that's what you're supposed to do in the opening. especially top level players, they know how to use that first move to their advantage. And I talk about this in the podcast. I have one podcast talking about how to approach a chess game, and it's really in depth. You should listen to that. I talk about the differential things between what white has to do and what black has to do, and why black is pretty much a disadvantage on the chessboard. Sometimes it is. Actually, all the time, because you're going second. I'm not gonna lie. Don't make this what it is. But anyway, if let's just go through the game right quick. It was pretty interesting. E4, E5, Knight F3, Knight C6, Bishop B5. Okay, so we got a Roy Lopez in the building. Wasn't expecting this, but a Roy Lopez can be a very sharp game with a lot of pieces on the board. So let's get into it. A6. Sorry about that. I know that was really weird, me slurping in your ear like that. Bishop A4, Knight F6, kingside, castle kingside, Bishop E7, Rook E1, B5, attacking that bishop, Bishop B3. These are just normal moves for the Roy Lopez. They probably had theory up to like 20 moves doing the Roy Lopez, but kingside castle, H3, blocking off this square from the knight and bishop. We don't want to see this pin when we're doing the Roy Lopez. It's super annoying. It's super annoying to see that pin, right? And that's why we play that H3 move. So Knight A5, threatening to take this bishop, but actually we're going to be pushing up the C5 pawn pretty soon too. But I don't know yet. I don't know. Let's see what they're going to do. Knight takes E5, which, hey, he did leave that that pawn undefended. But what's going to happen here? This is the Roy Lopez closed position. So we got knight takes b3, a takes b3, bishop b7, attacking this e pawn. We want this pawn back. Taking this pawn is not going to do nothing to me, son. And that's what Magnus Carlsen basically said. d3, d5, energetic play. This kind of looks like a Marshall, but it's not exactly a Marshall. But white taking this pawn did allow black to get a lot of time in their play. So for example, black has his bishop on this diagonal, this knight right here. This bishop isn't really doing anything. Maybe put this bishop on this diagonal, but black definitely has more pieces in play here. The only pieces that white have to play with is his rook and knight right now, and that is very troubling. And I guess this rook too, but it's really hitting a brick wall. So not exactly. That rook isn't really doing anything right now. Let's see what happens, because okay, e takes d5, queen takes d5, threatening checkmate in one. Is Jan Nepo gonna fall for it? No, he is not. We're just gonna oh snap, we block the checkmate with the queen, with queen f3, and then bishop d6, attacking the knight. And then we're moving the king to king f1. Rook fb8. Don't ask me why. I am not a grandmaster to know what that move means. Maybe bring the bishop back or something. I don't know. Don't ask me. Or maybe when they trade queens, the rook is already planning on putting. The rook is behind the pawn. They plan on pushing these pawns. I don't know. Let's figure it out together. Queen takes d5, knight takes d5, bishop d2, c5. Yeah, I told you that c5 pawn was going to move a long time ago. I just didn't know it was going to take that long. But it kind of seems like, remember what I said before, how you're supposed to be aggressive with the white pieces, but it kind of seems like black has the upper hand a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Like, all these pieces on the queen side are garbage for white. They're not doing nothing. Well, this bishop, let me take that. Like, these pieces are doing nothing. But I guess you can argue that these two rooks are doing nothing on the black side. I don't know. It's kind of sketchy. We're gonna have to get a little bit more clarification, because the only thing I like better than white's position is these bishops. But it kind of depends on what game you want to play. Do you want to play a game down a pawn with more activity, or up a pawn with less activity, and all you have to do is pretty much defend and play good moves and wait for your opponent to justify losing a pawn? And so Magnus is good with that stuff. And then we got a new move. We got a new move. Lee Chess is telling me, I'm gonna trust it. They're telling me that usually knight c3 is played right here. I don't know what grandmaster played this. A lot of grandmasters played this opening actually. But yeah, we're doing knight f3 today. We put the rook back. These rook moves are insane. I'm just gonna say that these rook moves are insane. Maybe we're putting the rook on this file. Maybe this bishop might become undefended, where you could do c4. I don't know. Or maybe we're just defending the bishop just because. We'll see. Because I know Magnus didn't want to bring the rook to e8 to trade off all the pieces and get a draw, because I kind of sense from watching Magnus Carlsen games that he wants to win every single game. And Jan Nepal does too, because it did take him a while to trade that queen off. But he had to in those circumstances. But now we're doing knight c3. Knight b4. Oh crap, that arrow was garbage. Like, oh my gosh. Knight b4. Attacking this c2 pawn. Dude, that would be crazy if we get this like fork in the top chess player games. That would be insane, dude. But we're gonna have to defend that pawn with this rook. I wonder why not the other rook. Like, what was going on? Why wasn't this move the correct move? I guess they're both equally correct, and this move actually goes into another game. So that's crazy, because I would think that this rook is in the middle, and so that's more important. But if you, yeah, rook moves are stupid. Rook ac8, knight e2, rerouting that knight so that it can actually be doing something. And I know what you're saying. I guess Magnus Carlsen could have took this knight, wrecked their pawn structure, but then Magnus Carlsen has the advantage of the two bishops, and you don't want to just give away the two bishops that easily, since the two bishops are way better than the two knights. And that's probably what Jan Nepal's trying to do now, is bring this bishop to f4 so that they don't have the two bishops anymore. I don't know. Let's see. Knight c6, bishop e3. Okay, we're keeping the pieces. We're just doing moves right now, rerouting, because all of both pieces are doing their job right now, because every one of Jan Nepal pieces had a job to do, and every one of the black pieces had a job to do. So this is pretty weird, and it's completely equal. Bishop f4, like I said, and then once Jan went to bishop f4, then Magnus was like, let's wreck that pawn structure right now. It's about time. It's about time to wreck that pawn structure if I'm going to be giving away my dark square bishop anyway. So that's what happened, and now we got this endgame position. This endgame position that they took a while to analyze, because my understanding on it, they went through like the first 24 moves like they knew this, or like, because Jan Nepal, like, he spent a lot of time on these moves, but then Magnus Carlsen didn't exactly spend that much time on these moves. But yeah, and then we got this position that everybody just started thinking on, and I was just looking at this position like, man, which side would I like to play on? Which side seems easier? Because black is still down a pawn, right? It's not like he's not down material. But can I justify that with the activity that black has? Which, based on what he did have, what he has now is not really that much. But now, white has two new weaknesses. And let's start getting on them right quick. First of all, this rook isn't doing anything, and then now we have these two double isolated pawns, and we got this isolated pawn on the H file. So basically, that justify black not having that pawn. But then again, we have this A pawn that we have to look over, because this rook is finally doing something. And once we get this rook doing something, then we got pieces doing stuff, right? I guess this king can defend these weaknesses, but for how long? Because this pawn can never go back. This pawn can never be defended by another pawn, and that's going to make these pawns a target for black. Let's figure out how this is going to happen. But first of all, Magnus Carlsen started off with rook c6. Rook e1, putting the rook on the file since it's not being threatened anymore. The c2 pawn is not being threatened. And, you know, just to capture y'all attention right quick, just in case y'all getting bored, just remember, this is the H1 channel, you know what I mean? So, I don't want you to get bored. I don't want you to, I need you to stay focused, pay attention, because these are world champions facing off against each other, right? Against each other. You know what? Actually, give me one sec. I'm going to look up a random quote. Yeah, I said it. I'm going to look up a random quote for y'all so that we can get back in the game. So that you can be inspired. Be inspired by... hopefully that didn't change anything. Okay, that didn't. So that you could be inspired by chess right quick. These quotes are so cool. Wait a minute. Yeah, I'm stopping the whole thing just to look at quotes. Don't blame me for this. Let's figure out if we can find a good quote right quick. Wait a minute. We got one. Oh crap. We still good? We still good? Okay, we still good. Move in silence. Only speak when it's time to say checkmate. Okay. I see you. Chess is not always about winning. Sometimes it's simply about learning, and so is life. Bro, tell me that's not cold, though. Tell me that's not cold, though. Oh, wait a minute. I don't got my soundboard on. Wait a minute. Tell me that's not cold, though. Tell me that's not cold. Yeah. Okay. Now that I got your attention, let's get back to the game right quick. From Davon being H1 being silly or whatever. Yeah, you know my real name from the podcast or whatever. Okay. Let's get back here. Let's get back into it. So now we got knight f5, c3, and c3 is kind of a weird move. It wasn't the best move in my opinion, because doing c3 just irked me just a little bit. And it irked me just a little bit. It's not such a big deal because the computer's it's not saying that it's a big deal, but this pawn just became a lot weaker. Right, a lot weaker. And black could have did g5 or something, because that knight isn't protected by any means. But then that would have left a lot of weaknesses for black, so I'm guessing that's why he didn't do g5. And knight h4, attacking these pawns, like I said, and black has a little tiny advantage right now. Little tiny advantage, and we can't take over that. Rook e3, protecting the pawn. King f8, get the king in the center during the endgame. It's always important. Don't forget it. Okay? The king needs to be active when the endgame comes. You can't still have the king sitting on the couch with potato chips, still watching WWE. Okay? You can't have the king doing that. And there's nothing wrong with doing that unless, look, see, I didn't tell you that this person is still staying in his mom's basement too, and he's not saving money either. He's not doing anything in life. He's not adulting at all. And so this person that's just sitting in the corner needs to get active sometimes. Because if you don't get active, then you just disappear from everybody's memory. And then when you're on your last breath, you're going to remember, I should have made more relationships in life. And I know that might be dark just for a chess game, but still, the value, the principle still comes back to say that the king should be active during the end game so that everybody will know, man, that king, he has our back. He has our back. Okay, knight g2, attacking that knight. So we did knight f5, attacking that rook. You know what I mean? Attacking that rook. Rook e5, g6, knight e1, knight g7, rook e4, f5, rook e3, knight e6. Really not a lot of things to do. You know how Magnus Carlsen be doing that thing where he likes to win the games in completely drawn positions? Yeah, that's what he's doing right now. He's just getting a little bit of space on the king side, which is really smart, right? It's really smart. But, hey, let's see if Jan Nepal can face it head on. Knight g2, b4. And it seems like Jan Nepal is not scared of Magnus Carlsen. He is not scared. Even though this opening choice was something else. Like, I would love to have this opening choice if I had the black pieces. Just saying. So this is definitely a win on Magnus Carlsen. This is definitely a win. b4, king e2, rook b8, king d2, b takes c3, b takes c3, rook takes b3. King c2. Black's position is just getting a little bit better, but I don't know if it's losing yet. And that's the big problem. But we got this rook in the b file. We're still attacking this a file. This rook haven't moved at all, which is it didn't have to move. h4, king f7, rook e1. I guess just protecting rooks and just doing a move, I'm guessing. Or, they're reaching the 40 moves. So you remember when I said that when they reach 40 moves, then they get, I think it was 60 minutes back? Yeah. So they're just doing moves just to reach it. King f6, knight e3, and they reach the 40 moves. Okay. So in this position, they thought for a little bit. And this was kind of weird because it's completely a drawn position. I don't know what Magnus could have done better. Maybe back here they're saying that he could have done rook c b6 to attack this king and take this f pawn. But yeah, that wasn't thought about at all. And so we just got this this drawn position. Oh snap! I stopped saying the moves. Wait a minute. Rook d7. Knight c4, rook e7, knight e5, rook d6, knight c4, rook c6, knight e5, rook d6, knight c4, and it's a draw. They agreed on a draw. The game is drawn. There's nothing important of what happened in the game. And yeah, and so I was thinking about this, and I was like, Jan Nepo, you gotta play harder than that. I'm sorry. I know I'm just like the bystander. You know what I mean? And this is just me. This is just my opinion. But if you're gonna have the white pieces, right? If you're gonna have this advantage, you have to use it wisely. The first game, you could have scared the mess out of him. Which you kind of did because you played the Roy Lopez, but y'all played in this variation that didn't give Black any problems at all. So Jan Nepo, y'all team, I don't know, y'all need a little bit of work. I'm sorry, and I'm just like this guy, H1 on the side, but come on now. And then for Magnus team, they're cheering after the first game. They're like, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Now, when we get the white pieces, we're going to show you what's up. We're going to give you the fire and the lightning and the whatever fireworks that we need to in the second game. And so, let's do it. And we're going to see the second game. I just watched it today, and I was like, this is how it's supposed to be. Real chess. Just blood and sweat. On the chessboard, okay? Maybe from paper cuts, maybe from like hitting your big toe on the table or whatever. But this is how real chess is supposed to be. So let's get into it. And I need you to see this close up, right? I need you to see how serious I am, because this game right here, you might have a little mini heart attack. Maybe not for real. but your heart might drop a little bit. You know what I mean? So let's get into it right quick. Let's get into it. Let me see. Yeah. I don't know what sound that was. I'm not doing that ever again, though. Okay, so we got this second position, right? White as Magnus Carlsen, and the black pieces as Jan Nepo. So let's continue. Let's do our thing. D4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, d5, g3, bishop e7, bishop g2, kingside castle, d takes c4, queen c2, and I know y'all know what's going on here. I know y'all know what's going on here. And it's, you know what we got. What is this opening? What is this opening? It's the Catalan, bro. Like, for real. So, this is the type of opening that I wanted in the first game for Jan Nepo. Something that's a little bit more energetic, that's gonna guaranteed fireworks, right? Something that's gonna fight for the World Chess Championship. And you gotta hold that mug up like you mean it, you know what I mean? Got the World Chess Championship going in, right? And so you gotta do your thing. You gotta represent, bro. You gotta represent the chessboard and why you was the world champion. And so that's pretty much what Magnus Carlsen is doing, because why would you play the Catalan and not do that? But I could be completely wrong. I haven't watched, I could be completely wrong. I did watch the game, but, I could be completely wrong. I just want to leave that question mark on the top here just in case I am wrong. Okay. Let me see. So we got b5, and Nepo decided to protect the c-pawn. All my Catalan players are like, yeah, that's a bad decision. That's gonna put you in some trouble right there. If you know what you're doing, you know how to handle this, and I would have even tried to, dang, stuff popping up. I would even try to do this against some top player, and that's what makes me different from the top 100 players in the world. Okay, knight e5, c6. A4, breaking down this pawn structure, because basically you sacrifice the pawn to get like a whole lot of activity against black, and maybe b3 might come out. You never know. Knight d5, knight c3, f6, kicking out that knight f3, queen d7, e4, attacking that knight right there. Knight b4, attacking this knight, queen e2, knight d3. And I know what you're thinking, like, this knight is a big problem. But not exactly a big problem. Because this knight we can get rid of that knight pretty easily. Just go bishop e3, knight e1, whatever. But one piece can't do a lot of damage. That's only one big weakness. If you look at the rest of black's pieces right here, that's still in the first and second rank, right? The 7th and 8th rank. You know what I mean. They're not doing a lot. And white is castle. They have all these pieces active, and it's controlling the center. And so Magnus Carlsen just like, hey, you're not doing a lot, so why not just attack the center? E5, doing the best move of the game right now. And so the best move right now is just to do f5, but we got bishop b7 just to get the pieces active, which f5 is, I don't know, that's a move that can, that's a pretty strong move for a computer maybe, but I don't know if that's a human move. E takes f6. Bishop takes f6. We got this isolated d pawn. Yep. And knight e4. We're going after these holes. We're gonna take this bishop. we got all this activity. We might be doing b3. You never know. And we can do b3 anytime to attack this whole structure. And so this knight isn't really safe. Knight a6, knight e5, bishop takes e5. And this is the move in the Magnus Carlsen interview that he regretted doing. And so they was saying that, like, probably better is maybe b3. The computers are saying bishop e3. Keep the tension on the chessboard. But he really did regret doing this knight e5 move, because after this move, then this puts black... this pretty much made black have the advantage in the position, because now this knight has helpers. And with helpers come dangerous times, you know what I mean? And we put this knight on d6, and this pretty much made it where white had to give up some material. And I talk about this a lot. And my podcast, I mentioned like the elements of chess and like the values of chess, talking about material, activity, what else? Time, space, and how top grandmasters know how to juggle these around on the chessboard. And so we're going to see like a demonstration of that, of how Magnus Carlsen juggled that on a chessboard and what he traded material for. Because grandmasters never just trade material for something else that is useless or just for no reason. And that's the main big difference between a chess grandmaster and like some novice player that just plays for fun, right? There's a reason to everything. And so let's look at this deeply right quick. So we got knight b3, rook b1, knight takes on c1, knight b takes on c1, rook b takes on c1, knight takes on c1, rook takes on c1. And we are down material. And you might be thinking, man, white is losing, right? You might be thinking that. Even the computer says it. But let me just say this. It's really hard to convert this position as black, even though the computer says that black is winning negative 1.1. We got this bishop, we got this knight, we got this rook, we got everything in motion. But black still has to organize these pieces. And so let's figure out how to do that. Okay, so let's get into it. Rook to b8. Rook to b8. A to b8, I mean. Rook d1. Bishop a8. Bishop e4. Which was kind of the wrong move, but it's really hard to keep the advantage when you're down material. The computer is saying knight takes b5. That was a move. There's a lot of captures to do. Even in this position, they were saying probably queen g4, but it's really hard to play down in material. So bishop e4, c3, which that was a wrong move right there. Black could have done g6, but then that gets a little bit scary, so we got c3. c3, queen c2, wrong move. Probably just taken right here was the best move, but they're not computers. They're humans. So this is why this is like one of the best variations to go to, because you want your human opponent to make mistakes, because the point of chess is to overwhelm your opponent and to make sure that you're not doing some really stupid mistake. But, you know, a couple inaccuracies is okay. A couple, especially in this position, because even though black has a good position up in material, his position is garbage. Like, the piece placements are garbage right now. There's no coordination or activity. So queen c2, g6, b takes c3, b takes a4, queen takes a4, rook fd8, rook a1, attacking this pawn. And it's completely equal right now. But if I was playing both sides, I'm not going to lie, the white side, I would love playing. Especially, yeah, I would just want to be on that side. we got this knight right here. And not only, this is the opposite from the black side. Not only do we got this knight on d6, we have pieces attacking behind this knight. So black has to handle all this pressure. And can Jan Nepo handle all this pressure? Well, let's see. c5, queen c4, bishop takes e4, knight takes e4, king h8, put the knight back, rook b6, queen takes c5, still completely equal, rook d b8, king g2, a6, king h3, rook c6. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what those moves are, but there isn't a lot to do in this position because black really did a good job defending it, especially when you have a horrible position. You want to trade off pieces, and this c5 move definitely helped out a lot, right? If white had just another small weakness, then black would be losing, but he's not. Queen d4, king g8, c4, queen c7, queen g4, rook takes d6, e takes d6, queen takes d6. And I'm going to have to give it to Jan Nepo. He faced off the fire from Magnus Carlsen, right? He faced it off pretty good. And I would like to congratulate him for that. It was decent. It was pretty good, and everybody should, because that was a lot of pressure. Any novice player would have lost in that position and did the wrong moves. c5, queen takes c5. Let's look at how this ended, and it went on some more moves that pretty much didn't matter because it was this is a completely drawn position. King g7, rook takes a6, rook f8, f4, queen f5 check, trade, and this position is completely drawn now. There is nothing that you could do. And I'm just gonna play the moves, and then we're gonna move on to like probably one of the exciting parts of why I like Magnus Carlsen personality. But let's go into it. We're gonna just move. I'm gonna play these moves very slowly. And this is what I like, right? Because Magnus Carlsen, even though this is completely a drawn position, he still played. Because this is the World Chess Championship. You could get a win. Even though, like, if you're playing a top grandmaster, this is super drawn. But king g7, g5. Not just taken, not just going into the draw. No. There might be some type of advantage that might come up. So, we do g5. Still fighting till the last drop. You fight till the end of the position. Rook g1. King f2. Rook a1. Rook h6. Rook a4. King f3. Rook a3. Check. King f2, rook a4, and it's draw. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, well, why not just do king g3 or whatever? And if they check me again, why not just do king h4? But they can just do this. And then I was thinking, why not just do this or something? h6, just it's completely drawn. This is completely drawn. Even this, right? There's no save in this position. And if you know your rook end games, you know that this is completely drawn. And so they agreed on it. And that's how the game ended. And this is what scares me, right? And I'm gonna make a prediction. Because this is purely my opinion. This is what scares me. Let me just put some music on the background, just because. This is what scares me. When Magnus Carlsen have the white pieces, he attacks you and get you into complicated positions and use the white pieces like they should be used. And he clearly out-prepared his opponent to a certain extent, right? A little bit. He kind of got himself in trouble, but then his player couldn't capitalize on it, and it was basically a confusing position, right? But at the same time, when Jan Nepal had the white pieces, he didn't put Magnus Carlsen in danger at all. There was no type of danger for Magnus Carlsen. So Magnus Carlsen definitely had the stress-free position right now. And he definitely went after his opponent and played to the last drop to not waste his white piece advantage. If this happens for, I don't know how many more times Magnus Carlsen gonna have the white pieces. If this happens like 5 more times, right? Jan Nepal's gonna be in trouble. If Jan Nepal can't get through the Magnus Carlsen barrier, then this is we already know who the winner is. So that's my input. I don't know. We'll see in the next games. I'm going to try to post a video every time a game comes out, but we'll see. But until next time, thank you for picking H1. And peace.
Pressing on toward the vision, yeah. I see where we was, and I see where we going. It's no turning back. Pressing on toward the vision, yeah. Man, we choosing to get up and keep it moving.